Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chapter 1 and Beyond. And I am so excited about today's episode because I am in so many book clubs-esque, bookish, groups on Facebook. And I've noticed in the past, several months alone, I get, everything that pops up on my Facebook feed. It's like, can you recommend this book to me? And they ask the general group, hey, what is age appropriate for this specific, classification, if you will. So I thought today's episode would be great because I personally have been in these shoes, and it's really hard to get the kids to be motivated into reading because they have all this technology and all these screens, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing because I work in the tech field. I think it's fantastic on how things have evolved over time. But the thing is though, when you got these kids that are being assigned 20 minutes of reading every day, it becomes a struggle on what to even recommend to them, let alone, pique their interest. So I thought today's episode would be great, a cozy little recommendation for different age groups. I'm going to start from the littlest of little readers, all the way up to, I believe I stopped at 8th grade, to be quite honest with you. Because honestly, this probably could be a 2+ hour long, podcast, but no one wants to sit here and listen to me for 2 hours. So today's episode is definitely going to be about all the recommendations for those struggling parents that are trying to get their kids to read more or finding kid appropriate books for their age group. Let's buckle up, dive right in, grab your cup of coffee, and let's do this. All right. So, we're going to start with our littlest readers, and I know that most libraries that I've been running into lately in my local area, they drive home this program called 100 Books Every Child Should Read Before Kindergarten. And I think it's an absolutely great program, but it's really hard to kind of pinpoint what kind of books to read, some of the books that they do have at the library are very dated, and, there's some great classics, but, I kind of have a mix of some recommendations for you guys in here. So the first recommendation, and I think these are great choices because they are classics, but they're also tried and true type recommendations. So I would recommend The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carlisle. It's a timeless, colorful, and it's a great book. My son absolutely loves it, and it's built-in counting. So they start, getting introduced to numbers and, different little insects and animals, and I think it's fantastic, and I cannot recommend this book enough. Another book I would recommend that is tried and true is Brown Bear, What Do You See? By Bill Martin Jr. It is repetitive, but for earlier learners, this is definitely something needed. Everyone's probably heard of this book. If you haven't, then I definitely recommend picking it up. Another tried and true classic that I would recommend is Goodnight Moon by Margaret Wise Brown. This is a great bedtime reading story. It's very calm and cozy, and it's got some very, the artwork throughout this book is absolutely fantastic. My son loves it. I've read this to him multiple times, and he can't get enough of it. So, and then, Sandra Boynton has a series, where it's got, these cute little farm animals, and they got the belly button book, they have the pajama time. I definitely recommend those books as well. And then what I'll do is there is a list of 100 books that every child should know before kindergarten. Some of the books that are on here I definitely would recommend, and I have read to my son, and even my daughter, who's about to be 11. And honestly, it's great to have these types of lists just so that you kind of have like a variety, if you will. But these are definitely something I feel is important to share. So I will have a link on my podcast description for this PDF, so that you could download that for yourself. But some of the titles, I'll just rapid fire list them off for you. Obviously Brown Bear, Brown Bear. There's Chicka Chicka Boom Boom on here. There is Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham on here. The Cat in the Hat. Goodnight Gorillas on here. Curious George. The Tale of Peter Rabbit. The Little Engine That Could. Owl Moon is on here. Let's see, what other titles that... Goodnight Moon is on here. Corduroy is on here. Olivia is on here. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I definitely recommend this. And then the great thing is as you're reading to your child, you can, kind of X them off and kind of do like a little like reading challenge with your son or daughter. So definitely recommend those titles. And honestly, there are so many more out there. There's like Pete the Cat, Elephant and Piggy. So yeah. So I mean, as you can see, there's like a lot of fun interactive type stories out there. Very colorful, very imaginative. Definitely recommend Elephant and Piggy, because Elephant and Piggy series by Mo Williams is absolutely fantastic. That series I definitely read to my daughter, and she got obsessed with it. And quite honestly, even past like when she went past kindergarten, she was still trying to read those books. And it really helped her a lot with her phonics and her, just overall reading altogether. So, because as she got older, she tried to sound out the words and everything else. So, all right. So next up we have early elementary. So this is typically 1st through 3rd grade here in the U.S. These readers are ready for simple chapter books, but still need stories that move quickly and hold attention. Absolutely agree with, some excellent picks here. And, June B. Jones by Barbara Parker, Dogman by Dave Pickley. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that last name. It's spelled Pilkey. Magic Treehouse by Mary Pope Osborne. The Boxcar Children. I definitely recommend that series. Harriet the Spy, The Babysitter's Club. Goosebumps, if your kid is very much into scary, creepy stories, but it's obviously child appropriate. Captain Underpants, Arthur, The Magic School Bus, Beezus and Ramona, Matilda, anything by like Ronald Dahl or Beverly Cleary or J.K. Rowling. At least like the first 2 books of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series. Let's see. Babysitter's Club. I already mentioned that. My gosh, there's just so many different titles that like you can really like kind of dive into with this genre. But even The Princess in Black by Shannon Hale, I believe. It's perfect for readers who want a mix of action and humor. A to Z Mysteries by Ron Roy for kids who love puzzles or problem solving. You want books where kids like their reading on their own, but still support by pictures, shorter paragraphs, and strong visual cues. So these books definitely aim for that specific, aim, if you will. Personally, my kid is, my kids have been very much visual, so I would definitely say, like, the graphic novels have really hit home for them. Stella and Astrid, I know that was not listed on my initial list. That is another graphic novel series, along with The Babysitter's Club. That is another graphic novel series. Smile, and I believe Guts. I can't remember who the name of the author is for that, but that is another graphic novel series for young girls, and I definitely think it's a great recommendation for this age group. It really is probably, it even aims for, like, the 4th through 5th graders as well, to be quite honest, but yeah, honestly, you can't go wrong with a good graphic novel or, a good, like, short chapter book. Magic Treehouse, my daughter has only read maybe 1 or 2 of those. Chronicles of Narnia, I would say, are probably within the next, list that I have. But I do mention it for 1st through 3rd graders because I think that would be a great pick when it comes to, like, family reading time. So just kind of keep those in mind as well. So, okay. So we are kind of going through this awfully quick. So to kind of recap, so for our preschool and kindergartners, you want to focus on rhythmic language, repetition, visual engagement, and gentle emotional learning. So like I mentioned, those titles. For early elementary, which is grades 1st through 3rd, focus on short chapters, repetition, confidence building, and early series appeal. So definitely building on supportive pictures, shorter paragraphs, but strong visual cues so that they can read on their own. The step into reading, I did not mention in the first 2 segments, only because it's very specific to characters that are very popular in the kid realm. I know that Nickelodeon and even Disney kind of pair up with these step into reading books. They go from levels 1 to 4, but they'll start off with very short sentences, and then, like, as it grows into the later levels, they get into, like, more bulkier, like, shorter paragraphs and such. I definitely would recommend those if your son or daughter is interested in like Disney characters and things like that, because they do, like, kind of generalize around, like, Lion King or Ariel or Beauty and the Beast or Stitch, or, it's just, like, fun little stories that they use with those specific characters, and then it kind of gets the kids to start sounding out the words while still being engaged with all the pictures and the characters that they know best. So I would also recommend those as well. But now that we've covered up to grade 3, let's dive into the upper elementary, which is grades 4 through 5th. So this is going to be focused around character depth, moral growth, humor, and fantasy world building. Now, for 4th and 5th graders, they're ready for more complex plots and emotional journeys. Kids at this stage often start to discover their reading identity. So whether they love mystery, fantasy, or realistic fiction, variety is very much key when it comes to this age level. So here's some titles that I would recommend. I do have a few more off of this list that I will touch on in a second here. But the initial list that I want to share with you is Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Riordan. It's an action, mythology, and friendship built series. I believe there's about 7 to 9 books in that series. And it's very popular because they actually have a series on Disney Plus. I believe there's movie adaptations of this as well. So definitely would recommend that. Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. I mean, it's a must-read classic with lessons in kindness and loss. I personally have had to read Charlotte's Web as a kid, and I absolutely love that book. Very sad in some parts, but definitely a book that they should read at least once. Wonder by R.J. Palaccio is a beautiful story about empathy and acceptance. Another book that, that really drives home that mixture of, understanding. It's more of like a contemporary book, but yeah, I mean, actually, I've personally been picking it up for Herkyed 2.0, and I never read it before, so I'm actually really glad that I have that on my list, but definitely would recommend it for this age group as well. The Wild Robot series by Peter Brown. So this book I've actually mentioned earlier in earlier episodes of my podcast here, and I absolutely am obsessed with it, even me as an adult. I've read the first 2 books to my kids during family reading time, and we're moving on to the 3rd book, but it's like a trilogy, and it's about this like amazing cute little robot that like mixes nature and all the things, and there's like all these woodland animals, and they have to like problem solve through life on this island. And I think it's an absolutely fantastic series. And I guess they did a video movie adaptation of it. I don't know if they're going to be doing a couple more, but I absolutely love the movie too. So definitely would recommend that as well. All right. And then next on the list is Frindle by Andrew Clements. It's a clever and funny book with a message about creativity and language. And I know that sometimes in schools, at least with my daughter's school, they'll do this one school, one book program for their literacy program. And I think it's pretty cool because like all the grades get this one book, and I remember this book particularly being selected for one of the years. Another one was like, I think it was like a masterpiece. It had this like cute little cricket, and it like knew how to, like do artwork in this art gallery. And it was a very interesting take because like you hear of like stories like Ratatouille where like the rat is actually the chef and things like that. And this book like kind of reminded me of like that very similar message where you have like these unexpected characters that can do these amazing things, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So I do have a few more that I want to share, but let me grab that list. So some of the beloved books that I read back in the 90s, like I'm thinking early 90s, mid 90s is when I was in this grade, and I'm like thinking back to the different types of books that I read in 4th and 5th grade, and I would recommend Holes by Louis Sarchar. It's a story about a boy sent to a juvenile detention camp, and they have to like dig, and there's just like there's like a lot of like dynamic between the different boys and different characters that are in this. And there's actually a movie adaptation of this, but it's a great book. I definitely recommend also The Giver by Louis Laurie. The first book in the series is about a utopian society that hides the truth from its citizens. So it's kind of like a dystopian-esque book. Definitely interesting. I think it's like a 4-part book, but I remember just reading the first one. Bridge to Terabithia by Catherine Patterson is a classic story about friendship and loss. Definitely recommend that one. The I Spy series by Jean Marzolo and Walter Wick is a riddle book series that uses photographs that you have to like find different, it's kind of like a Where's Waldo situation. You kind of have to find like the different objects in the crowd, and then like, it really gets you to like not only problem solve, but it also gets you to read through like, hey, I have to find this hat, or hey, I have to find, whichever, like a magnifying glass or whatever. But the last book series that I want to recommend as well is the Animorphs series by K.A. Applegate. It's a science fiction series about teenagers who can transform into animals. So, I mean, I would recommend that as well for this specific age group. And honestly, you can't go wrong with the variety of books that I have on this list. So, I mean, there's something for everybody. The key, like I mentioned earlier, is variety. So, all right. And finally, on to our middle schoolers. So, our 6th through 8th graders. So the focus with this age group is emotional connection, more mature themes, self-identity, and empathy. Our middle school readers, they're really exploring independence and complexity in both life and literature. So don't underestimate like books that either have like a graphic novel theme or if they're chapter theme. I definitely recommend, these books for them because though I had said some of these titles for our 4th or 5th graders, it really can really resonate even with our middle schoolers, so 6th through 8th grade. And then, like I had mentioned earlier, Holes by Louis Sachar. Great mix of mystery, humor, and resilience. Like I said, they're in a juvenile detention facility, and they have to uncover mysteries like through the dynamic of learning about one another. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This is perfect for readers ready for dystopian adventures. Definitely recommend this series. I know that there are a lot of books that are now like kind of pre the Hunger Games. I don't know if I would recommend like Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes for this age group, but I mean the original trilogy of the Hunger Games, definitely I would recommend to this age group. Ghost by Jason Reynolds. It is a fast-paced, heartfelt sports fiction. Definitely, if you have any children that are involved with sports, this would be a great pick for them. Front Desk by Kelly Yang, based on real experiences and great for empathy building. Anne of Green Gables, ideal for readers who love classic character journeys. And this one was by L.M. Montgomery. So, I do have a few more that I would recommend. I mean, honestly, you can't go wrong with the Chronicles of Narnia series. There is also, let me load up my list. Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Tears of a Tiger by Sharon M. Draper. Sideways Stories from Wayside School by Louise Sachar. Let's see, what else we got? James and the Giant Peach. The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgkinson Burnett. Let's see, what else do I have on this list? The Witches by Ronald Dahl. Harriet the Spy by Louise Fitzhugh. The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Yeah, Silverstein, sorry. A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein. Little Women by Louise May Alcott. Little House on the Prairie by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Let's see. There's just two more that I wanted to recommend. Where the Red Fern Grows by Wilson Rawls. And then last but not least, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz. Those books I would definitely recommend for this age group. If you have any recommendations, if you yourself have read any of these books, I would love to hear from you. But that is a wrap for today's episode of Chapter 1 and Beyond. I hope this gave you a strong starting point for helping the young readers in your life discover books that meet them right where they are. I'll include a printable list of all the books, as I mentioned, and I think it would be great as a reading challenge for you and your family, in case you need that list for a perfect library trip or gift ideas. If you have favorite kid-friendly recommendations I didn't include, message me, and I would love to comment, and talk through the different recommendations, because I think this would be a great series to start up on this podcast. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.